Okay, and Gerry putting Roger in there for a second. And as he said, anything can happen, and who knows? We've got a field of 6 trotters here. We'll wait and see. Post time now, down to 7 as we check out a close-up look at the field in the first race. There is Keystone Seville, the 3-year-old colt, home of Max C. Hemp of Pennsylvania. Keystone Seville by Speed Bull out of Keystone Sister, 7 times out with 2 seconds. Best individual time, 1:59 and 4. 5 races back in the Meadowlands. 6-1, number 1, Keystone Seville. Number 2 is Conductor Stick, the 5-year-old stallion, home of the Arden Homestead Stable of New York. Conductor Stick by Bonefish out of Silver Ivory. Ed Gerry Jr. in the sulky. 17 starts, 4 wins, 2 seconds, 4 thirds, 1:59 and 4 at the Pompano Park. At 4-1, number 2, Conductor Stick. There's number 3, Hot Breath, home of Thomas Crosby of New York, Robert Bloodgood of North Carolina. 4-year-old gelding by Lindy's Crown out of New Scent. Tom Crosby in the sulky. 11 starts, 1 win, 3 seconds, 1 third, 2 minutes and a fifth at Vernon Downs. 7-2, number 3, Hot Breath. There is number 4, Jubilee John. 11-year-old gelding by Big John out of Off the Trunk. Roger Houston doing the driving. 9 starts, 1 win, 1 second, 1 third, 2:05 and 3 at Vernon Downs. That was 4 starts back on a sloppy track. 7-2, number 4, Jubilee John. Number 5 is Bandit SPUR, home of Roy D. Davis of Pennsylvania. 4-year-old gelding by Defiant Yankee out of Keystone Saffron. Richard Davis in the sulky. 1 time out and 1 win by 8 3/4 lengths. Last time out, 2 minutes and a fifth. 6-5, number 5, Bandit SPUR. And number 6 is Heart's LOBELL, home of Jeffrey L. Mallet of Pennsylvania. The 3-year-old filly by Bonefish out of Heart's Desire. Kenny Ross drives, Jeff Mallet trains. 10 times out with 2 wins, 2:01 and 2. 20-1, number 6, Heart's LOBELL.
And look, the place pool in tonight's first race shows the betting favorite. Look how evenly the money is divided. Bandit SPUR, though, is the favorite, 181 of 797. And look at the show hole. The betting favorite is the 4, the voice, Jubilee John, at 204 of 806. Win, play, show perfected the first half of tonight's Daily Double. Amateur trot. The trotters go to the post in less than 4 minutes. You know, Jim, and looking at the horses out there, Roger looked pretty confident out there with Jubilee John. I'll say one thing about him. He looks good in the sulky. I'm always commenting. He sits well in the bike. On the other hand, I thought Richard looked a little apprehensive on Bandit SPUR, but this is about Richard's second or third lifetime drive at any type of a racetrack. So I can understand it. Sometimes when you're that way, the horse senses it, and I hope that's not the case because, as I said, Bandit SPUR is a very fast animal.
That's the only reason I decided to pick Roger tonight. I don't usually make picks away from Bandit SPUR, only because Richard Davis probably is going to be a little unsure. I know I would be myself, and I think that perhaps he will be, and that may
Maybe Richard will race this horse conservatively. I thought maybe Bandit would go to the front if he's flat, but perhaps Richard will take a seat because 2 minutes and a fifth. The difference between his horse and Roger's horse, I feel, Jim, if you look even at the races where Roger did not drive, but where he just raced here at the Meadows, this horse is not coming a big last quarter, and Bandit SPUR came his last quarter in under 29 seconds last week, and there's no way that Jubilee John has that type of quarter. The race that he won up at Vernon Downs, the last quarter went in almost 34 seconds, and little difference between that and the last quarter and 29. But this is an amateur trot, and as I said, anything happens in these races, and Roger's got the experience, and he has a decent horse under him.
And I think, too, as far as the betting public is concerned, if you don't know, Roger certainly spends the time. It's not like he just goes out once a week and jumps behind the horse. I mean, he's out there working and training.
He sure does. And like I said, he's drove Jubilee John to the championship last year, so he knows this horse well. And I think another thing that's important, Roger has confidence in this horse, much more so than we believe than Richard may have right now.
All right, post time now, down to 3 minutes for tonight's first race. Win, play, show, perfected, daily double wagering. And standing by in the paddock, filling in for me while I fill in for Roger, Chris Blaine, and here is the founder of the Meadows with Chris, Delvin Miller.
Thank you, Jim. As you can see, I do have Delvin Miller with me, and as you just mentioned, he is the founder of the Meadows. Delvin, this week has to mean a whole lot to you. We're honoring Adios throughout the week with great stake racing. Tell us a little bit about how you feel as we enter into this week.
Well, being president of the Grand Circuit also, I love to see it have a good home here at the Meadows. And I noticed they have the new flags we bought this year up flying, and I see a lot of people and a few on Presbyterian Hill, and we have people up there, and we know we're getting a pretty good crowd. I expect a good crowd all week.
Okay, I know that the Meadows went through a down period here for a couple of years, and all of a sudden we're on a great upswing. What are your thoughts about that? What's making it click and go the right way all of a sudden?
Well, I think they were very smart. I think some of the horsemen were against it, but they were wrong, and a lot of time we're wrong. We had to admit our mistakes. I wasn't against it. But when we put the thoroughbred racing here in the afternoons where they could bet on them, and there's people that just like to bet on thoroughbreds. And that's helped us tremendously and helped our purse schedule, and it gives us better horses, better racing. And, you know, we're on a high now, and we're going to raise the adios till we have a $500,000 race out of it.
Okay, that's right. And you have Islesworth in the 6th race tonight. I hope you're on top of the world with him and make this a dynamic start to Adios Week. Best of luck to you, Delvin.
If he feels as good as I do, he'll win, but I don't think he's that good.
Okay, thank you. Back to you, Jim.
All right, thank you, Chris. Thank you, Delvin Miller. Jerry, there's certainly a very candid comment.
I was going to say that is very honest. Delvin's certainly very spry at his age, and Isleworth making some breaks at his age. So Isleworth's got a lot to learn from Delvin, got a lot of maturing to do.
You know, I asked Delvin Miller, we had a press conference on Monday for the post position drawings, and I said, how about Jaguar Spur maybe racing a little bit conservatively in the first division, since, you know, he doesn't have to go up against Run the Table. And Delvin stopped me and he says, you don't race conservatively when people are betting on you. You go out and you try and win that race, and you do the best you can. All I meant was that maybe, you know, they wouldn't have to take a lot out of Jaguar Spur.
Well, the thing is, in the first heat, he has to win in order to draw either the 1 or 2 posts in the second division. I think that's important. The post positions are going to be important. If he would happen to not win and end up in the 4 or 5 hole or the 6 hole and Run the Table wins, he's at the mercy of whatever Run the Table wants to do. This way, if he has a 1 or 2 hole, he's not going to be that far behind, whatever he decides to do.
So you tend to go along with Delvin. You got to race pretty decent.
Well, once again, Dick Stillings knows his horse, and
Right.
I don't. But I agree with Delvin. When you're on the racetrack, you should be trying. But I think there's some strategy in some of those heat racing. I think it's an advantage to be in the first heat. I understand it's going to be in the high 80s, maybe 90 here Saturday. So I think the extra 35 minutes to cool out may be a big advantage. But we'll see.
Well, it's going to be a big one.
Still take a super effort to beat Run the Table.
That's why I said it's going to be a big one. And,
but we're going to find out if the voice can pull off a super effort here, and let's watch between he and Bandit Spur and the other amateur drivers. Let's see if they can put on a pretty good show here tonight.
Well, I think they will. First division of the Billings coming up here, and we'll give you one final update on the infield tote board, and the favorite, without a doubt, number 5, Bandit Spur, going off at 4-5. The voice, Jubilee John and Roger Houston at 5-1. Ready to go in the Billings, and here's Sandy.
The trotters move in behind the starting gate. There they go. They're off and trotting, going right off for the lead in the middle of the track. Number 4, Jubilee John. Racing second at the rail, number 2, Conductor Stick. Moving up third on the outside, number 6, LOBELL. Trotting fourth, number 3, Hot Breath. Fifth on the outside, number 5, Bandit Spur. At the rail is Keystone Seville. They race around the turn, go into the first quarter. On top of the field, it's Conductor Stick. Second at the rail, Jubilee John. Racing third is Hot Breath. Fourth at the rail, Keystone Seville. Racing fifth, Bandit Spur. Trailing the field is LOBELL. They pass the first quarter, 30 4/5. They race into the lane, passing in front of the stands for the first time. It's Conductor Stick with the lead. Racing second is Jubilee John. Third at the rail, Hot Breath. Trotting fourth is Keystone Seville. Fifth at the rail, Bandit Spur. Trailing the field, LOBELL. They race into the clubhouse turn, going to the halfway point. They're all in straight alignment. The leader remains Conductor Stick. At the rail, second is Jubilee John. Racing third, Hot Breath. Fourth at the rail is Keystone Seville. They race around the turn and past the half. 102 2/5. They race the backside, going to the 3/4. The leader remains Conductor Stick and Gerry Jr. Racing second is Jubilee John. Racing third, Hot Breath. Fourth at the rail, Keystone Seville. Racing fifth is Bandit Spur. Trailing the field is LOBELL. Down the backside they go. The leader remains Conductor Stick. Second at the rail, Jubilee John. Third moving up on the outside is Hot Breath. Fourth at the rail, Keystone Seville. Racing fifth is Bandit Spur. Trailing the field, LOBELL. They race around the turn and past the 3/4. 133 1/5. They race around the final turn. It's Conductor Stick and Ed Gerry Jr. with the lead. At the rail second, Jubilee John. On the outside third, it's Hot Breath. Fourth on the outside is Bandit Spur. At the rail, it's Keystone Seville. They round the final turn and head for the wire with less than 1/8 of a mile to trot. It's Conductor Stick with the lead. Racing second is Jubilee John. Moving up at the rail, Keystone Seville. On the outside, Hot Breath. They come for the wire. It's Conductor Stick with the lead. It's Conductor Stick. Time of the mile, 2:03.
All right, thank you very much, Sandy. An exciting race there, the first division of the Billings Amateur Trot. Your unofficial winner, number 2, Conductor Stick. And Ed Gerry, Roger, with Jubilee John getting up for second. It'll be close for a show. Right now they have the photo sign up. They have the 2 for the winner and then the photo sign. And Gerry, I thought maybe Jubilee John and Roger certainly in good position, but they just...
Jim, as we said, the last quarter tells the tale in this race. 29-4 on the front end for Ed Gerry and Conductor Stick. Roger gave the perfect trip there, cover all the way, lacked the response to the stretch race credibly. Bandit Spur driven a little tentatively by Richard Davis, but still came on with a good performance. He tended to lose contact with the field at the half there, Jim, and had to make a big move just to catch the field.
I like that, tended to lose contact with the field.
Yeah, that's what happens. A horse loses contact and loses interest.
And certainly he had the horse, and it was just a question of Richard deciding what to do.
I don't know whether this race is going to say that the front end is good tonight, because Richard did make up ground, but there you see there's a gap between he and the horse in front of him, Keystone Seville. And Richard has to go a big mile just to catch the field and start his move. He makes his move. He catches a first over cover from the 3-horse, Hot Breath, and Tom Crosby. And there you see the voice, Roger Houston, down along the rail second, getting a perfect trip. And I mean, absolutely perfect. Conductor Stick, the horse that I really feared had a chance tonight. Ed Gerry, I don't believe, has won any of these races, but he wins one tonight, wire to wire. And I just wonder whether this is going to mean that the front end is going to be good tonight, because this is a true horse race, and it shows the tendencies of horses. Bandit Spur, who I thought was the fastest horse, now catches the field, is going to commence a big move wide, but unable to make up that much ground. It looks right now like Conductor Stick is going to jog, but Roger's going to make a horse race out of it as he comes off the rail here, gets some clearance as the 3 Hot Breath is about packed it in. As you see, Roger gave the perfect trip tonight, comes out of the hole, looks over to see if he has clearance, raises the lines, kind of looks like Doug Snyder coming down the lane there, Jim, but can't make up any ground. Here comes Bandit Spur finally on the outside, but too late as they drive to the wire. It's going to be 2-4, and Bandit gets up for third, and if Richard drove Bandit a couple more times, I think he'd be tough in there.
2, 4, and a 5, now official in tonight's first race. Well, they haven't made it official. The photo sign is still up, and they do have the numbers up, 2, 4, 5. So
looked like a clean race to me, though, Jim.
Yeah, I think so. Let's go to the winner's circle right now with Sandy Green.
At this time, coming into the winner's circle, the official winner of tonight's first race, the Billings Amateur Trot, number 2, Conductor Stick, owned by Arden Homestead Stable of New York. Robert Roberts, the trainer. Ed Gerry Jr. in the sulky. Time of the mile, 2:03. Also in the winner's circle, publicity director Bob Sabat making a presentation to winning driver Ed Gerry Jr., winner of the first division of the Billings Amateur Trot.
Thank you, Sandy. And you see the winner circle right there, and the smiling faces along with the publicity director of the Meadows leading the horse around. 2, 4, and 5 official. 2, 4, 5 Conductor Stick, Ed Gerry Jr., Jubilee John, and number 5 Bandit Spur. Results official in the first race. Number 2 Conductor Stick returns $11, $5.20, $2.80. Number 4 Jubilee John, $5.40, $2.60. And number 5, Bandit Spur, $2.40 to show. The first race perfecta, the combination 2-4, pays $43. We'll have the complete order finish from the judges here in just a second, so we'll hold it as it's coming in right now. Again, 2, 4, and a 5. Finishing 4th in tonight's first race was number 3, Hot Breath. And finishing 5th, number 1, Keystone Seville. 6th was number 6, Hearts LOBELL. Again, the time of the mile, 2:03.